Am I the a-hole stories? Am I the a-hole for saying I just hope that you are proud of yourself to my niece, when I lost my job after she reported the company I worked for? I 35 female lost my job after pandemic struck, and found another working in a meat company. It was much lesser paid, more tiring and longer hours, but beggars can't be choosers. I have 3 kids to raise and need a job or it would be too much for my husband to shoulder. I was going to continue to work there until I find a more suitable job, because the boss of that company is quite an a-hole. Some time ago my niece, 19 female, was looking for a part job, and since there were vacancy in my workplace, I recommended her to my superiors. My brother's family is quite wealthy, fully funding my niece's studies and living expenses, and my niece only wanted a job for extra allowance. My niece soon found out that many of us working there are not paid the standard for overtime, and our workload exceeding the norm. She was disgusted by the environment and wanted to file complaint about the company to the authorities. I begged her not to, not because of my love for the company. I was going to leave eventually, but because like me, many of us there have families to feed and needed the job. My niece ignored me, and ended up making quite a big deal out of it, posting pictures, videos and long paragraphs on social media, and file some reports to fight for her rights. I have no idea if it changed anything in the company. However, as a result of this drama, the company decided to dismiss a portion of its staffs, and including me, a few other coworkers of mine had lost their jobs. They did not voice it out directly, but they have been avoiding me, probably blaming me for introducing my niece to the job. I have been avoiding my niece too, because despite her good intentions, I still lost my job. My niece had been texting me giving all sorts of reasons that what she done was for what is right. When I ignored her texts, she sent more with long paragraphs, basically wanting me to acknowledge that she is right. I really don't want to put blame or argue with someone half my age still living in comfort with her parents, so in the end I replied, I just hope that you are proud of yourself. My brother texted me later, saying that I was being unkind to his daughter, that is her aunt who witnessed workplace toxicity with her. I should encourage her to continue to fight for what is right, still going on between her and the company. I may be unemployed, but I am going to spend my time looking for a job instead of joining some vendetta. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. No a-holes here, minus the company. What your niece did is right, it just unfortunately means you, and workers, suffered. Your niece is now learning that her actions have consequences to other people. She didn't need to survive off that income, so she had every luxury of reporting them. It is unfortunate what happened, and deep down, I think you know the a-hole is the company. Your niece tried to do the right thing, and I think she did do the right thing. But being right and being employed are two different things in the real world. What your niece did is right. It wasn't. She did it against the explicit wishes of OP, knowing full well that the likely consequences will be workers being fired. She was being a selfish and tone-deaf a-hole, not an altruist like many of you are trying to paint her as. Your niece is now learning that her actions have consequences to other people. She didn't need to survive off that income, so she had every luxury of reporting them. How delightful that niece got to learn a life lesson here. It was only at the expense of people who have just lost their livelihood in the middle of the pandemic. Not that the privileged princess is affected in any way, as she is being completely funded by her wealthy parents. No, she was right. Just accepting law-breaking working conditions because someone depends on it, and there is always someone depending on it, means that companies get away with all the employee mishandling they want in the long run. This is just not a black and white situation. It has negative consequences for some people as OP, no questions, but getting the pushback and possibly some legal consequences will likely better the working conditions for future employees at the company. And especially, the meat industry is such an abusive crap show at most companies, some pushback is badly needed. This is not good workplace organizing though. As you can see by the fact that the company has changed nothing, except firing vulnerable people who they saw as troublemakers. It's all very well to not be able to stay silent etc., but if you want to actually make the world a better place, you have to put in the work. OP's niece wasn't acting in solidarity with the people most directly and deeply affected by this company's wage theft, she was literally happy for them to be collateral damage. This ain't it, chief. The niece was in a position to walk away and that's a form of power. It's immensely valuable when your workplace otherwise depends on exploitation of workers without better options. But she didn't use this power to uplift others, or even with their help, planning and consent. She squandered it. My sister was in a similar situation where she took on a job she didn't need as much as most of her colleagues. When she showed up, she realized that while it was advertised as reimbursing for X job expenses, in fact the workers paid for X out of their own pockets. She told management she couldn't work if they didn't repay their workers as advertised. They were like, "Well, we can make special rules for you." She stuck to her guns, and in the end the company started reimbursing everyone for X, as they should have been doing all along. This story is the literal opposite of that. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my friend that he is basically an employee of his dad and not a business owner like he says he is? My friend Jay comes from a wealthy family, as his dad owns several successful businesses. He's not a snob, but recently he's become a bit preachy about how it's better to be an entrepreneur than an employee. We've talked about it several times before. I've been working for a financial company for 9 years, and he always asks me about when I would put up my own business. I told him that I enjoy my current job because I get paid all right, have a great time with my coworkers, and learn many things from my clients. Jay said that I'm wasting my time working for a company that pays me so little, compared to what I could earn if I were a business owner. I told him that I do have plans of having my own business someday, but that requires a large amount of capital, and is a huge risk that I'm not yet comfortable taking. He said that I've been an employee for 9 years, so if not now, when? And that you can only get the reward if you take the risk. I usually try to brush things off because I know that Jay has good intentions. He's just a little out of touch with how hard it can be to put up your own business and be successful at it, since his dad's businesses have been there all his life. But the other day, he was telling me about one of his cousins who asked for advice on college majors. He told me that he told his cousin to go for a business degree, work for 2 years to get some experience, and then have his own business, just like Jay said he did. He also told his cousin to remember to aspire for greater things, and not be satisfied with being an employee forever. I was a bit irked about the last part, and told him that hey, there's nothing wrong with being an employee forever, and not everyone is cut to or wants to be a business owner. He said yes, there's nothing wrong with being an employee forever, but if you're smart or have any ambition, you would want to have your own business, instead of working for someone else your whole life. I told Jay that if he thinks that being a business owner is the best way to succeed financially, then why hasn't he put up his own business? He said that he does have his own business, referring to the construction firm his dad founded which he now manages, and he doesn't have to put up a new one, since his family already has one in place. I asked how is it his, if he isn't the registered owner, needs approval from his dad for all major decisions, and doesn't control the company's income. I said that he's basically an employee who happens to be related to the owner, and the monthly allowance he gets for running the business is his salary. He didn't reply to me after that and hasn't talked to me since. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Classic case of being born on third base and believing you're a home run hitter. This guy was born on third base, and he's still there. Also, he got entrepreneurism and nepotism a bit confused. Not the a-hole. You're 100% correct. And your friend sounds insufferable. How is he walking around giving life and career advice for something he has never done? That's just not how it works. Not the a-hole. Your friend's motto should be, it's okay to be an employee, if you work for a relative. He sounds insufferable. Not the a-hole. Your friend is not an entrepreneur, he is riding his father's coattails and taking credit for something he never did. It's easy to tell someone how to succeed, when you never had to. And you were spot on with his father being the real shot caller. Your friend is essentially just a puppet, and daddy is pulling the strings. Yup. Even if he was CEO of this business, he still wouldn't be an entrepreneur because it was an existing business, and he hasn't done anything entrepreneurial. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to help my sister with her special needs child? I used to be 220 pounds. I am 5 feet 2 inches, so I looked terrible. I was once really active, but I went through a breakup, started a close relationship with emotional eating, and plumped up. C-19 happened, and I worried being overweight would kill me if I got sick. My sister shares custody of her 10-year-old son Alex with her husband. When everything shut down, Alex was staying with his dad. He was there for the majority of everything, and only recently returned home. This is where issues have started, because Alex's special needs and things have changed since he left. I used to do the main cooking for everyone, and it would be delicious foods made with butter. I am a good cook, but I stopped making food like that. I now eat mostly chicken, broccoli/veggies, and rice. I make a lot of soups. I drink smoothies. Alex hates everything I make because he has texture issues. He doesn't like chicken, unless it is a nugget. He won't touch most veggies. He doesn't like the soup I make, because it isn't from a can or salty. I am down to 160 from 220 and look heaps better. I am happier. I am also working outside the home now, walking my dog more, and not home a lot. When I do get home, I go to bed at 9 p.m., because I am exhausted and need to wake up at 5 a.m. to do everything I need to get done, work out, make breakfast, lunch, walk the dog, commute to work. Last night, my sister sat me down and said she wanted to talk to me about Alex. Alex was having meltdowns every evening when I didn't make him dinner like I used to. Jenny wants me to go back to making meals for Alex again. I have told her I don't have the time, and while I love my nephew, I am also working on myself and my health. I wouldn't mind cooking the old food for Alex, but he also wants me to eat with him, at 9 p.m., and I am putting my foot down. While I did help a lot with Alex before, that was due to having the time. I now don't have the time to be a parent to her child. I spend time with him on the weekends, but I have told her that when the pandemic ends, I intend to move closer to my work. Our lease ends in 6 months. She has told me she doesn't think she can handle Alex on her own, and that he refuses to do certain things unless I do them for him. I am not home to do them, or I am knocked out asleep. I am working 3 times as much now as I was before. I have mad stress, and I just don't have the urge to raise her child for her because it's easier. I love the kid, but I have told my sister that my stress level has gone down now that I have good sleep, good eats, and good exercise. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. First of all, congratulations on your weight loss and change to healthy lifestyle. Do not let anyone sabotage your efforts and plans to move forward with your life. Alex is solely your sister's responsibility. You can be a loving aunt, but you are not responsible for making his meals or his well-being. Why is your sister not cooking for him? Again, I stress that you should not change your lifestyle, or your life, for your sister or your nephew. Just say no. She is cooking for him, he just wants my food. He also eats way later than my sister wants him to, so there is a fight when I am not home, because he wants to eat late at night, and she needs him in bed by a certain time, so she can sleep for her own work. Her ex-husband works from home, so they just feed him whenever he is hungry. I would be up later because I worked very low hours for a time. And 9 p.m. was like 6 p.m. for me. I slept late. Now I am in bed by 8:30 or 9 p.m. I go for a long walk, I eat something quick and easy to make. And he wants me to get up, make him complicated meals, and then has another meltdown when my door is locked and I am deeply asleep. He is also upset my dog comes to work with me, because he thought my dog was his dog. It's pretty complicated, and my sister resents that I am just living my life without being too worried about the fits. In my opinion, I am not doing anything wrong. Not the a-hole. You are not her husband nor her child's father. It is not your responsibility to co-parent with her or sacrifice your own health and well-being to placate her child. He was upset I changed my hair, lost weight, because he hates when people change. But I just don't know what else my sister expects. Does your sister have him in adequate therapy? The bottom line is, he is her child, and it is up to her, and his father, but definitely not you, to help him cope with changes and get him trained, professional help if it's too much for her to handle. The therapy was happening, but it's on hold until the pandemic is over. His therapist got sick, not with COVID, but has taken time off to get better. And that's it for this video, guys. If you have thoughts to share, leave a comment below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you like this content. I'll catch you in the next one. Good day, everyone.